Practice 10, going as expected. A lot of reps, a lot of bodies, a lot of bad football, a lot of good football, that good stuff. So pretty much right where we should be. Practice 10.
Good chance to go out there and see them live on Saturday. You know, when you're popping pads and tackling to the ground, how do things change, and how did you see them respond to something like that?
We've had. Again, I think we had 4 live periods prior to that. So the difference in a scrimmage is the kids get a little more excited about it because there's not an hour and a half of practice prior to live stuff. So everything that we did, we got 105 reps on Saturday. It was fine. Some good stuff, some bad stuff. But we had 4 live periods prior to that. So there's nothing special about a scrimmage. It's just exclusively live reps as opposed to drill work and all that good stuff.
Offensively with Jake, will the average person notice a difference in what you're doing, or is it so similar that it's really non-story?
Oh, it's real similar. Hello. It's real similar. I mean, Jake could be the first to say that. I mean, he was trained under me for how many years? You know, 1 at Houston, 1 at Oklahoma State, two here, I guess. So almost half his career he's been with me anyway. So we share a lot of the same philosophies. It's much like you know, when I broke off from Coach Leach. I mean, there were similarities and there were some differences. He did some small things that were different that we've talked about. We've combined a lot of football minds and just figuring out what our personnel is and try to implement what we think is going to be successful. Some of which people are going to know about, some of which they're not going to know about. But we try to keep as much secretive as we possibly can for obvious reasons. You know, we're not trying to win the spring game in 2 weeks. We're trying to win that Sunday night game in August. That's the first time that it really counts. So. And along those lines, thrilled about that move too. I mean, that's going to be great for the program. Everybody watched Texas Notre Dame last year, you know, and a lot of eyes on that game, and there'll be a lot of eyes on this game. You know, it's great for our fan base because of the old rival. You know, it'd be the 52nd game, I believe. So that's huge. And then in addition to that, just the amount of eyes across the country, it's going to be awesome. So we'll try to keep as much secret between now and then.
I think Marvin Brooks finished the year really strong last year. The Baylor team obviously stood out. This spring, do you see more strides?
Should. He's a 5th-year senior. Guys that have been on campus doing things for 5 years should get better. It was good to finally see him do some things on defense. I thought he really made a difference last year, special teams wise. He plays the same position as Kaiser White, so you know, whether it's him doing that kind of stuff on defense, which we know he can, I'd like to get those same reps out of him on special teams too, to make a difference in that area. He made a lot of plays, special teams wise last year. It's good to have 2 of those bodies at that one position and be able to get more special teams reps out of those guys.
You're not a big defense. Are you concerned about that, or are you okay with the size you've got up front?
It's why this defense was developed. We're not getting a ton of D-line bodies. Just never have. That's why Gibby was a part of coming up with this style of defense. Big 12 fits Big 12 to me. And as much skill as there is in the Big 12 is offensive oriented as it is in the Big 12, is perimeter oriented as it is in the Big 12. You got to be able to run, and that's why we've had success. And I think the NFL likes what they see too, because we put a lot of those skilled guys, undersized guys into the league as well.
A guy like John Lewis had been moved around offense, defense, and now he's one of those fighting for one of those 3 open spots on the line. And he's a senior and a local guy. How you've seen him responding in this final spring for you?
5th-year senior, guys that stick it out, especially, you know, a local guy, a walk-on, stick it out, you know, along the same lines of Justin Art. Been here for a long time, smart kid, cares, grew up a Mountaineer. Important to him, gives it everything he's got. He's helped us, much like Justin did, for 4 years on special teams. scout teams, special teams, whatever he's got to do to help us win. And to see him fighting for a starting job, I mean, it's the same thing that Art did last year. Hopefully, John can make a difference for us on defense as well moving forward.
You talked to Gibby about Kazir today. What's the next step for him as you go against him in practice and drills? What do you see the next level for him being this year?
He made a bunch of plays last year. I mean, there wasn't a huge adjustment period for him last year. We needed a spur last year. He stepped in without a spring and gave us those good snaps. So just overall good play. He was consistent. He made plays. I mean, he's a force. He can run. He can hit. He can cover. He can blitz. More big plays often, I guess.
Anything, anything new to report, good or bad, injuries?
No, I'm not talking about injuries ever again. I think you got, and I know that sounds like I'm irritated, and I am. We're going to talk about guys that play football. We're not going to talk about injuries anymore. If you're guilty, you're guilty. If you're not guilty, then ignore what I'm saying. But too many people focus on injuries. This time of the year, who cares? We're trying to get guys healthy. I mean, we're not going to wear people out. Our job's to get guys ready to go August, that first Sunday night, and that's what we're going to do. In the meantime, we're not going to talk about it.
Dan, when signing day, I'm thinking back, you mentioned Sills and Maiden, some perimeter guys who can make plays down the field. Jake and Will seem like they're working on stuff to add to that, outside throws, deeper throws on the outside action. Where is that, I guess, for where you want it to be, and potentially what can that add to your passing game and your running game?
Our vertical passing game, I think, has been fine. Shelton was good at it. Cron was good at it. Whether it's those two guys, whether it's some of the other guys that we have, Javon is starting to make some plays downfield. Marcus Sims made plays downfield earlier in the spring. Hadn't seen him in a month. But I ain't worried about that. We're going to have guys that can stretch the field. One thing that was said on signing day was the height of those guys being able to make a difference in the red zone when it came to red zone offense, which our red zone offense has been subpar. We need to score more inside the 40. It's a stat that I keep. Getting touchdowns will be important, and those guys with their length, I think, will be able to help us.
Does Will's arm open up stuff?
Yes.
You mentioned about how it's hard to cover a lot of the stuff.
It does. It does. He can make tight throws. He can make tight throws. So whether in red zone offense, you have to make tight throws. That field gets shrunk, so you got to make tight throws. Will's got the ability to make those throws. So whether it's him or whether it's receivers making those tight catches, I like what I've seen out of our red zone offense so far.
Is spring a good time to work on some of this so-called mirroring with the running backs and the offensive line and figuring out how to run the inside zone? And is there any of that comes out of this time of year?
Yeah, we've got a ton of. We're going to rep a lot of pass game today. We've ran the ball as much in these first 10 practices as I ever have. And I like where we're at when it comes to that. It's just offensively, I like where we're at with it. There's some different things in the run game that we're experimenting with. Just having Wick and Coach Dews and Jake, they're bringing some different ideas to the table that we're entertaining. So it's the time of the year to be able to kind of experiment with it just a little bit.
Where you at with tempo? You happy with it?
Fast, extremely fast. We work at every practice. We've had an abundance of 2-minute periods, 4-minute periods, which is the opposite. I'm forcing these guys to do that stuff every day. I'm the official on it, and I'm working my game management skills as well. We can play as fast as anybody offensively, and I thought Gibby's always been able to line up to up-tempo offenses as good as anybody. So that's a big part of what Big 12 is, and we will continue to work that. All right.